Ta-da! Popcorn!
Dun, da, da, da.
Dun, da, da. We actually have the popcorn bowl back. Yay!
It's good.
Yeah, it's cheesy popcorn, people. So, what's been going on?
Not much.
Watching Under the Dome?
Same old I am. And so I got renewed. So.
Yeah.
Well, I have it, I don't know, I guess next summer will be the new ones. We have to wait a
You
whole
do
year.
have to wonder if that's a show that could survive in the regular. I mean, I think it's a well-produced show and everything.
Yeah.
But is it a big hit just because it's on in the summer and you're like, there's nothing else on network television or something? Certainly not on Monday nights. I'm flipping around during commercials and I'm like, oh yeah, Siberia. I'm going to start watching that. So, anyway.
Two
good
Broke
show.
Girls before it.
Two Broke Girls? Yeah, but repeats. You know what
Is
I'm
it?
saying? Yeah. So like this is like original programming, which I've seen other shows. They tried, I don't know, CBS or ABC had some show called Motive, and I watched like half an episode. So I guess not everything. But usually in the summer, if you'd put a new show on, I would have watched anything.
Yeah.
But
Well, now we know it can rain in the dome.
it can rain in the dome.
Everyone is freaking out because they thought
Yeah.
they'd have no water. They're rioting, killing people. Then it starts raining and they just all stop.
Yeah.
So they just started dancing. I would like to see
That was a little unbelievable. You're in the middle
Yeah.
of a riot and you calm down. Don't you still need the food that you were grabbing? I mean,
Yeah,
it's great that
exactly.
you got water. No, let's fill some trash cans.
Right. Yeah, fill some nasty dirty trash cans. That's the thing I thought immediately.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, and we met the
Come on, Big Jim.
we met the farmer character, so I guess
Yeah.
he'll be providing
I'll
everybody.
trade you some propane for some water. That's what happened.
That dude, man, he's a veteran actor. I can't
Yeah.
know his name or anything, but yeah, it's well produced and everything. So any other big? We're going to talk about Pacific Rim in a little bit, which
Mm-hmm.
you people should be seeing that. Come on, that thing bombed.
I know.
But let's
I think
get
it's
into.
better than some of the.
Well, yeah,
part
let's
that's
do it
out
now. Yeah, it's big budget. You know, it's monsters versus robots is sort of the. They could have just called it that. Maybe that would have gotten people in the seats more.
I was thinking it's kind of like, you know, not a reboot, but, you know, like the Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie that came out with Hugh Jackman. where
Right.
They were like fighting the robots.
What was that called? Real Steel.
Real
Yeah.
Steel.
Yeah.
So this was, I mean, this was way better than that. Don't get me wrong. I thought. But just kind of like, you know, the classic Godzilla theme. Let's redo it. When I first saw the previews, I thought this was like a new Godzilla.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like Ultraman fighting the giant lizard.
Yeah.
So these things, the Kaiju.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
They're
boy,
coming
I
out of the
didn't-
ocean and they keep coming. So we got to build these big robots, the Jaegers.
Jaegers. Boy, you're really good with that.
Yeah,
I
and
forgot
then
those
you know
names.
the
And you're
Jaegers
inside,
are controlled
there's
by
like
people.
two people inside the
Yeah,
robot.
it's controlled through a person's mind, and it's too intense for one person. So
Yeah.
they need two. And kind of when you go through the process of getting the Jaeger to be controlled by you, you know, your mind melds with the other person, so you get their memories and everything like that. Although, what's his name? The guy from The Wire.
Yeah.
The general.
Oh yeah.
I forget the guy's name. Anyway,
Stringer Bell. is
Stringer
the
Bell,
character.
yeah, so Stringer Bell's in
it's
this. He-
Idris Elba. Yeah. Idris-
yeah, right. I knew it was something.
Yeah.
Something like that. Something a little off the wall. I
Yeah.
should say. Now, is he British for real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's got a British accent.
Right.
I'm
Well,
not
see,
sure
for the
where he's
first
from.
couple minutes of the movie, I couldn't tell he was doing the British accent. Then all of a sudden,
know.
he sounded British. I'm like, wait a minute.
That's his real accent.
Yeah.
He's got some kind of show called Luther that I think is
Yeah.
like a BBC show or something where he's a detective.
But he was one of the few guys in the movie that was able to control the Jaeger on his own. That's why
Yeah.
he keeps bleeding out his nose.
Yeah,
all
it just
the
gives you a little nosebleed,
Yeah.
and I think he had some kind of degenerative disease, or like he was going to die or something. Maybe.
Yeah, I think because after a while, after him
Yeah.
doing it all those years, it kind of.
And then we get the Sons of Anarchy dude, Charlie Hunnam, I think. That's about, and then Ron Perlman. It's
Ron
a
Perlman.
Guillermo del Toro movie, so Ron Perlman is contractually obligated to be in the movie.
Yeah.
He signed something long ago. I will be in every Guillermo del Toro movie. And Guillermo del Toro did Hellboy, Hellboy 2, a couple other things, Pan's Labyrinth. So he's always interesting to me. I always think there's something like. Maybe the films need to maybe the only thing I have with this one is that maybe could have been sped up a little,
Yeah.
because there's a lot. There's some fights, smaller fights scattered throughout, and then there's a big fight at the end. But you're kind of waiting a long time for that big fight, and I would have. But yeah, really good movie, and just the visuals. I'm like, boy, we're really getting jaded if people aren't coming out of that movie going. You gotta see those
Right.
freaking monsters and the robots are just looking awesome, man.
And I think Charlie Day did a pretty good job.
Charlie Day.
From It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
I was skeptical when I first saw the preview that he
Yeah.
would pull off the scientist role, but
Yeah.
he's kind of that quirky scientist,
Yeah.
and he's not as crazy as Mac, or Mac,
Right.
of Charlie is in Mac. He's not as crazy as you know. You tend to like, at least for me, you see an actor in something like he's the first time I've ever seen him was in It's Always Sunny. You tend to think that's like his personality.
Right.
You know, just some crazy weird freak.
Yeah.
So he dials it back a little in the movie, but he's still the quirky scientist that makes some
Right.
funny comments and figures a lot of this stuff out too.
Yeah, he's sort of, I mean, I thought he was just going to be comic relief and kind of
Yeah.
give him some tech support or whatever, but they actually have a plot where he interacts with the Ron Perlman character and Hannibal Chow.
Yeah.
Where, I don't know, he's some gangster or something like that. So, but it's something to do with he needs to find a way to sort of mind meld with these creatures in a way that the people can kind of mind meld to sort of find out more information about them, and then the information he finds helps them in their war with these creatures, and they learn like where the
Yeah.
creatures came from.
How
and
are they
everything.
getting here? What are they? Why are they coming? That kind of
So-
thing.
So yeah, Pacific Rim, people, still in release. I would check it out, or at least on DVD. Come on.
It's probably a moot point now because I'm sure something else will get in the IMAX. But I thought it was worth seeing in the IMAX
Yeah.
just because the screen's so big and everything in this movie's larger than life. I mean, obviously the monsters are huge, the Jaegers are huge. They're in
Yeah.
these huge, enormous bays where they're building them and everything.
Yeah.
Now the 3D, on the other hand, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you know,
most times I noticed it was when like two people were having a conversation and the person
Yeah.
in the foreground who wasn't the focus of the shot was
Yeah.
in 3D. Like, what does that add to anything?
And it's
you
one of
know?
those weird things where the shots are so impressive just
Yeah.
without 3D that occasionally during a big action sequence, I would actually pull down the glasses. I would check. Sometimes it wouldn't look like they'd put any, like it would look normal or whatever.
Right.
And they were like, we don't need to do anything to this. And they really probably didn't. So it's so weird that this movie seems like just geared towards a 3D thing. But maybe if you don't need it, it's sort of just.
I don't know. To me, like we said in past shows, for 3D to really work, you need that Z-axis action. I mean, not X or Y going up or down. You need action coming toward you.
That's right.
If it isn't, then what's
Yeah.
the point? I don't, you know.
Yeah,
I
and if
don't
they
know.
film the whole movie and just decide afterwards, like they did with Titanic, when 3D wasn't even a thing, it's like, okay, afterwards we'll add all this. Well, there's only so much they can do with that because there's only shots they have on that. What is it, the Z-axis?
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Well, I thought I would just sort of wanted to recommend a couple other things. Talked about Under the Dome. I saw a movie called Only God Forgives, which is played here for like a week or two. So I honestly don't even know if I should recommend this because I checked on the thing and like, well, here's the weird thing. The critics, this is one of those weird things on Rotten Tomatoes where even among the audience, it was only like half the people liked it or whatever. So that's something. The critics liked it less. I almost always see the opposite. The critics hate something, but the audience likes it. Oh, no. Yeah. No, that is the usual way it goes. The critics hate
Critics hate
something,
it, audience
the
likes
audience
it.
likes it more. But
Yeah.
the weird thing is this was an art film, so I would have expected in this case to be that weird reversal where the audience can take it even less than the critics can take it. But no, the audience still hung with it. Oh, this isn't it. It's kind of a weird gangster movie, but it's very moody, atmospheric, set in Bangkok. Starts Ryan Gosling, but he's really just one of like 4 or 5 other kind of characters that kind of float in as sort of the dominant. He's one of the dominant forces, but there's this other weird guy, like this apparently he's a retired police officer who goes around. If you're a bad guy, he'll like either chop off your hand or do whatever. He's like old school. He carries it, and then he goes and sings karaoke after. After as you do, So
course.
it's a very weird film. It's good, but it's visually interesting. The music is interesting. So I don't know. I think it's worth a look on DVD because it just seems like it's made by the same guy who made Drive, and it's just got a lot of kind of atmosphere and interesting stuff. So
Right.
Only
Well-
God Forgives. Go ahead.
Only God for I got nothing.
No other picks? Any summer concerts that you saw that were awesome? You went to Memphis, didn't you?
No, not this year. It's
okay.
New Orleans.
Well, I got one more then. Joyland, the new Stephen King.
Whoa. I
Throw
caught it.
popcorn. There you go.
Yeah.
The new book by Stephen King. Just a good kind of crime. It's kind of a combination of crime and horror. So if you're into that, go for it. The other thing I like is that it's shorter. I'm always like, when Stephen King writes a shorter novel, I'm like, yes. They don't all have to be 800 pages.
No, you're right. Like The Stand. What was that? Like
Yeah.
2000.
I guess with that kind of epic thing, you just like.
I'm just trying to think, and speaking of Stephen King, I obviously talked about Under the Dome. That's one
Mm-hmm.
of his works. So, what are the best Stephen King adaptations for TV? I mean, some were good, some
Yeah.
or film, I guess. Like Pet Cemetery was really good. It was pretty good, but like Tommyknockers,
terrible.
terrible.
Yeah, well,
Under the
I don't-
Dome's been good.
I haven't read that novel, so I can't say, but
Yeah.
the novel has to be better than yeah, that was just bad effects, whatever. I mean, The Stand for its time, I remember when that
Stand
was
was
on TV.
pretty good. I
liked
remember
it.
watching that. Yeah.
Might seem a little dated now, but I
Right.
mean, at the time I was like, whoo. It was just, it was one of those old. But Misery always gets
Oh yeah. How
high
could I forget
marks.
that one? That was
And
good.
there's
Yeah.
the weird thing is that, of course, the ones that are not as horror, sort of, they're just about like real life or whatever, like Stand By Me and Shawshank Redemption, just have this kind of like, it doesn't really seem like a Stephen King kind
Right.
of thing.
In fact,
but,
most people probably wouldn't even recognize
Yeah.
it as Stephen King. Just think it's the movie that.
but some really good recent novels have been by Stephen King, just made it like that freaking, what was that one about with Morgan Freeman, some kind of alien invasion thing, Dreamcatcher. Ugh. That was
don't know if I've
it had a
seen
good director or anything. It was just a horrible movie, and I've heard bad things about Bag of Bones. That was some A&E series or something. As always, it's hit or miss, but I think old Uncle Stevie, as he calls himself to the readers, is happy. I think he's doing an executive producer job on Under the Dome, so he's got to be happy.
I saw a picture of him sitting in one of the director's chairs. So
Yeah.
He's getting some input.
Gotta love it. I think he's thinking, yes, this is my Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I've made it here.
Finally, speaking of which, that's finally coming out on season 3 is finally coming out on Netflix, so I'll finally get to
Oh,
see
cool.
that. I've been waiting.
Yeah, I'm going to see it on DVD. Sheesh.
It's on DVD.
Oh, it is?
Blu-ray. Blu-ray.
Oh, okay.
You still have VHS at your house?
I do watch DVDs.
Okay, good. You've made that.
And
step.
actually, I kept the VHS for a while because I would record stuff. I'd watch things on DVD and record it on VHS, but now I have things where I can record it on DVD. So honestly, I'm just using the VHS. I'm trying to convert stuff from VHS to DVD and then say goodbye to VHS because it is disappearing.
It is, well, and two, the tapes eventually will wear
Yeah,
down.
they do.
You can't, they
The
break
weird
down.
apparently they stay in better shape if you put them in a certain position, like if they're straight up and down instead of laying flat. I don't know. I've
Really?
heard that.
That
Yeah.
could be the case.
All right, folks.
All right.
Well, we got a great show for you today. We've got what else? We got a movie.
Wes and Patty are here.
All right. Wesley Whitfield, Patty McDaniel, segments with them, and then we've got a stellar movie.
Karate Kids USA.
Karate Kid.
Hi-ya!
Hi-ya! That's apparently all you really need to know. And being good at karate is being able to say hi-ya.
Yep.
So that'll be our little picture-in-picture segment. So stick around for more popcorn.
All right.